Hello and welcome to Blue Army TV. I'm sitting here after Carlisle have drawn 2-2 at home to Salford in what was quite a good game of football. Didn't really mean anything, not for us anyways. It was quite nice to ruin Salford's bye and, prevent them from getting playoffs. I enjoy a lot of the Chesterfield fans I see on Twitter thanking us. It's nice to know that even though there was nothing for us to play for coming this last game of the season, it was nice that we had some kind of a say in at least something in this league come the final day. We were involved in the drama of the last day of the season at the very least. And I don't really like Salford. I don't think there's many people in this league that do like Salford. Not for any particularly mad reasons. I just find that Salford fans seem to always be Salford and another club, you know what I mean? It's never just, you never get die-hard Salford fans, do you? It's always Salford and Man United, they're pretty much just a little B team for Man United fans who like the class of 92, or whatever year it was that all the Man United players came from and, bankrolled that club into the league. But yeah, it was nice to kind of put a dent in their season. It ultimately meant nothing for us, and thank God it didn't, because, bottling a 2-goal lead, we almost bottled a 3-goal lead against Port Vale, so we did bottle it today. I think there was a lot of players today that maybe looked like they were a bit disinterested, but to be honest with you, do I really blame them for that? I blame them for the mad, horrendously bad season we've had this season. I don't blame them too much for today because there's nothing to play for. You haven't given yourself the opportunity to play for this, to have this game mean something to you. Tranmere won again, so even if we had won last week, it wouldn't have meant anything this week. Or to say, even if we'd have won and Tranmere had lost last week, it wouldn't have meant anything this week. But yeah, it was nice to see such a good turnout for the game today. I think the weather obviously helped. But yeah, highlight of the match for me was Salford fans starting to sing Salford are massive everywhere we go, and the entire Brunton Park just literally bursting out laughing. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a unanimous laugh at a Carlisle game before. You always get the oohs where the whole ground makes the same noise at once. It's always very impactful. But I've never quite heard an entire ground break out in laughter at the exact same time. So that was very impressive, and kind of epitomised just how funny that was from the Salford fans. And to be fair, I think they were doing a little bit tongue in cheek. Even match going Salford fans, I don't think they don't genuinely believe that they're a big club. I think they revel in the fact that they're a small club. So that chant was obviously a bit tongue in cheek, or at least I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that it was a bit ironic, intentionally. But yeah, a few players today that I maybe wouldn't have played. I probably wouldn't have played Fusire today. I wouldn't have played Hugill, and I wouldn't have played a lot of the players that aren't going to be here next year. We put in a decent performance. I think, we've got to try and keep Matthew Dennis. Georgie Kelly, I still think, yes, he's a good player when he's fit, but, availability is the best ability. And unfortunately, he doesn't have that ability most of the time, so I'm very 50-50 as to whether I would keep him next year. But look, ultimately, a lot of these decisions aren't going to come down to us. It's going to be down to who we can get rid of, who we can afford to bring in to replace people, if we can get rid of people. Deciding whether paying up people's contracts is a good offer, seeing who will willingly leave on a free despite probably going away to get less money and on a shorter term deal. But yeah, I genuinely think you can count the amount of players on one hand that I would genuinely keep next season. I'm not saying that a lot of these players aren't National League quality. I think it's just about getting a different mentality into the club. It was nice to see the Piatex there today. They say what you want about them, but they are mostly present at these kind of games, which isn't something you can say for a lot of owners of football clubs. Yeah, this season's been horrendous. And I'd just like to say to everybody watching this video, thank you so much for the support this season. I really hated being a Carlisle fan this season, but I've absolutely loved being a Carlisle United YouTuber, just because of the support this season. Genuinely, it means the world to me. It really does. This year we made it 5 years of this channel. I know a lot of those videos aren't available to watch now, but I started making these videos. It was in the 2018-19 season, and to reach 1,000 subscribers this year, which if you're applying to an audience of Carlisle fans, which is, I'll be honest, there is a ceiling to the amount of subscribers you can get on these kind of channels. But I think the support from people is fantastic, and I love reading everyone's comments. I get a lot of comments these days, and I find it very hard to reply to them all like I used to. But just know that if you leave a comment, I have read it, because I read them all every single week. I obviously don't have the, I can't reply to them all anymore, but I love the kind of community that this channel has, and it's been an honour covering Carlisle this season. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen next season, as with me kind of going on and doing different things in my life now. But as far as I'm aware, this channel's going to continue at least in some capacity next year. But yeah, again, just thank you all for the support on this channel. It really does mean a lot to me, and it really has become quite a big part of my life. I've made a lot of close friends doing this whole YouTube thing, and this and the podcast as well. So yeah, just thank you for making these videos become, for making them worth making, because it's not necessarily the video making side of things that I enjoy the most. It's the kind of seeing how people react to them, seeing the discussion generated by these videos. And don't get me wrong, I do like the videos, but the highlight is always after I've put the video, watching people respond to it. And it really does mean a lot to me. But I'll stop with the cringy stuff now. Onto the match. Yeah, decent match. Obviously we bottled a 2-goal lead. Obviously it doesn't mean anything. And the conversation is going to have to be who stays, who goes. What I'm going to do, video-wise, is I'm going to wait until there's a retained and released list out. There will be a podcast going out this week on Spotify, the Blue Army podcast, on who we would keep and who we would release in terms of the out-of-contract players. So if you want my opinion on that, go and watch the Blue Army podcast episode, which will be coming out this week. But I'm going to make a video on this channel when the official list is out, to give my opinion on that, while also making a video, probably in the same video, to be honest. I'll probably cover it all in one video, and then who from the players still in contract I would like to get rid of and who I would like to stay. Plus there'll be videos over the summer on transfers, or potential transfers perhaps, or transfers if and when they happen. So yeah, thank you again for this season. It's really not the way anyone wanted this season to go, but look, let's just hope we can bounce back, because I think I call it the Sheffield United effect, right? I remember when Sheffield United had that fantastic season in the Premier League, and they looked like they were going to get European football for a long time. And then at the back end of that season, they were terrible. They were really bad at the end of that season, and that poor form carried on to the end of the next season. So I do think that finishing this season a little bit positively, yes, we haven't won any of the last 3, but before them 3, there were 3 wins. We've only lost one of our last 9 home games. Finishing this season stronger than we started it, or finishing this season stronger than we have been for the vast majority of this season, I do genuinely think it's going to help us next season. I do think that's going to be the difference from what we had last season, because we finished that League One season terribly. After relegation was confirmed very quickly, but after that I don't think we won a game. This season, however, we've finished the season strong, and we've got a manager that I think fans are starting to love. Just listen to that crowd at Brunton Park today. And look, I don't really know. I didn't really like the way that the players were kind of applauded off, and I understand it, and I'm never going to have a go at people for applauding the players, because it's their decision to make. But yeah, it seemed that the players that have just got us relegated out of the Football League for the first time in my time supporting Carlisle got applauded off, despite being the highest paid players in the league. And that didn't sit right with me, but I genuinely do think that the love for Mark Hughes is justified, because he has come in, he has done well. He's performed better than the other 2 managers we've had this season, which isn't a sentence a well-run football club should be able to say. He's been the best of the 3 managers we've had this season, and that's just permanent managers. Let's not even talk about some of the assistants that have gone on to be intermediate managers, or whatever you want to call them, temporary managers. But yeah, the atmosphere was so bad last week, and rightfully so. And I am still gutted about being in the National League. It hasn't quite it hasn't quite sank in yet for me. But finishing the season strong was a big positive, and it will hopefully carry on to next year. Hopefully, some of the positive feelings we have towards our manager, towards our goalkeeper in Breeze, and towards Kelly and Dennis, who, let's not forget, they've been in excellent form in this running. 5 goals and 6 goals respectively. In 11 games? That's really good returns for our strike partnership. And hopefully we can carry that on into the next league. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there for today. This game meant nothing for us, but it meant something for the overall way the league turned out, and meant a lot in the promotion race. And I'll tell you what, I'd much rather have Chesterfield in that playoffs than I would Salford. So yeah, nothing game for us, but not a nothing game for football. And football's always the winner. So yeah, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and in a bit.